Okay, so this is balance training part 1. All right, now I'll do this preamble for the second one as well. Okay, so when I was saying earlier on in my last video on positive reinforcement training, if I start what the dog is interested in achieving by doing that behavior. Okay, so give you a couple of examples. Dog barks at the window, okay, and this is a client of mine had gone to another trainer, and this is what they had been suggested to do: get the metal lids of 2 pots, and while the dog is barking at the window, go up and clatter like cymbals behind the dog's head and give the dog a fright, okay, and that will stop the dog from barking, okay. Or a big metal spoon inside a big metal pot and clatter it to give the dog a fright, okay. Right, so that's aversive, okay. That's, if you do that behaviour, I will give you a big fright and create this racket that you don't like, okay. Now see if the dog then backs off and gets a treat at that point. We're just giving the dog a treat. The treat has got very little or nothing to do with the dog's motivation or barking at the window. The dog is now, if the dog decides not to bark at the window, they're not barking at the window to get the treat. They're not barking at the window in order to avoid getting clattered with the 2 cymbals, or okay, the pot pans, pan lids, okay. So we've got to understand what is motivating the dog to do a behaviour, okay. So one type of trainer who call themselves balanced, what they will do, and I know that there's some trainers that they do this, and I have some respect for them, okay, and it's just some, okay, but certainly more respect for them than the other lot. What they'll do is they work the dog through a positive reinforcement protocol exactly the same way as I do, okay, but when it gets to the stage where they think that the dog knows the behaviour, they'll start putting corrections on, okay. So they put a broad basis of behaviour. So you're basically saying to the dog, see, if you behave like this, really cool things will happen all the time, but if you step over this line, something bad will happen, okay. All right, now some people turn around and say, yeah, well, that's quite a good way of learning, okay. I don't because I recognise that if the dog knew how to do the behaviour, the dog would do the behaviour, okay. But at least those trainers are using lots and lots and lots of positive reinforcement first, okay, before anything else happens. But when we start introducing aversive, the dog's now starting to learn, right, there's always a threat of something unpleasant going to happen if I get it wrong, okay, and that can then affect a whole bunch of things, okay. So that's the kind of, what I would say there is that they're turning around, and those trainers who call themselves balanced, and the reason why they're calling themselves balanced is because they say that they'll use all 4 of the contingencies that I spoke about in part 1, but they're using positive reinforcement first and kind of backing it up with aversive training if needed, okay. So that's the second part. That's not how I train. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's to the benefit of the dog, and I don't think it's to the benefit of us either as human beings on this planet, okay. But that's the second part, okay. And those trainers, okay, those trainers are extremely rare, okay. I've never met one in person. I have never met one of those trainers in person. I've only learnt from them or seen their stuff online, okay. That's how rare they are, okay. And I'll talk about the other lot in the next video. Much love and peace to you.